People don't test your boundaries by accident. They test them to measure you. Before someone disrespects you openly, they always start with something small. A little delay, a small push, a joke that cuts deeper than they pretend, a harmless request that costs you more than it costs them. They're not doing it for fun. They're gathering information. They want to see how much access they can take without giving anything back. They want to see how fast you fold. They want to know whether your standards are real or just words you throw around when life is calm. Boundary testing is the first stage of manipulation. They push, you bend, and the pattern is set. The truth is simple. People test your boundaries to find out who they can control and who they can't. Let's break down how boundary testing actually works, the psychological signs someone is probing your limits, and how to respond with unshakable authority. Boundary testing is never random. It's never innocent. It's never just how they are. It's a calculated behavior, conscious or unconscious, used to understand exactly how far they can push you before you push back. People test boundaries the same way they test fences, not by kicking the gate off first, but by applying light pressure to see where the weak points are. It always starts subtle. They break a minor agreement. They ignore something you clearly said. They forget a detail that mattered to you. They take a little more access than they earned. They give you just enough inconsistency to see if you'll chase. They apologize lightly, watching your reaction more than their own behavior. They're not testing your patience. They're testing your identity. Boundary testing happens for one reason: to gather data. Data about how much of yourself you're willing to betray. Data about how quickly you abandon your standards. Data about how much discomfort you'll swallow to keep the peace. Data about whether your no has weight or if it collapses under the slightest emotional pressure. And the early tests are always disguised as something harmless, a little sarcasm, a small lie, a subtle shift in tone, a delayed reply that wasn't delayed last week, a light request that slowly becomes a pattern of taking. These aren't coincidences. They're probes. Because the first violation is never the real one. It's the trial balloon, the sample size, the test run. If you bend, they escalate. If you hesitate, they take. If you excuse it, they embed it. If you let it slide once, they make it normal. The fastest way to lose power in any connection is to treat early boundary pushes as not a big deal. They are the big deal. Because the person testing you isn't looking at the action. They're looking at your reaction. They want to know if your standards are emotional decoration or actual rules. Boundary testing is psychology, not behavior. It's someone evaluating whether you can be shaped, softened, or stretched around their comfort. And the moment they learn you can, the real disrespect begins. People don't test boundaries directly. They test you through patterns, pressure, and micro-behaviors designed to slip under your radar. You only catch it if you're paying attention. Here are the psychological signs someone is pushing your limits. 1. They become inconsistent on purpose. They reply fast one day, slow the next, warm one moment, cold after. This isn't indecision. It's data collection. They're watching whether inconsistency makes you chase, overgive, or self-doubt. If your behavior changes, they've already mapped your weakness. 2. They pretend not to hear your first no. Boundary testers don't argue. They pretend you never said anything. They ask again later. They reframe it. They joke about it. It's a quiet way of saying your lines don't matter. 3. They minimize what matters to you. You express a concern. They smirk. You set a limit. They downplay it. You explain why something crossed a line, they shrug. This is a pressure test. If they can get you to question your own feelings, they can get you to bend your boundaries. 4. They push small lines to see if bigger ones will hold, showing up late once, flaking casually, making a joke that hits a sensitive spot, cancelling without effort. It's not the action, it's the intention behind it. How much can I take without consequences? 5. They treat your generosity like an invitation, not a gift. You do a favor. Suddenly it becomes expected. They ask for more. They give less. Boundary testers convert your kindness into currency they don't intend to repay. 6. They create guilt when you enforce a line. A healthy person respects boundaries. A boundary tester gets emotional, irritated, or passive-aggressive. They'll act hurt, disappointed, or confused, all tactics designed to make you associate your boundaries with discomfort. 7. They watch your reactions more than their own behavior. When someone is testing you, their eyes are on you, your tone, your hesitation, your desire to avoid conflict, your openness to being bent. They're not assessing the situation, they're assessing your threshold. 8. They push you to over-explain. The moment you start justifying your standards, they know they've already slipped past them. Boundary testers rely on your need to be understood because every explanation weakens your position. 9. They increase pressure when you stay calm. If you don't react, they escalate. If you stay grounded, they try a different angle. Why? Because they're measuring not just your boundary, but the strength of the person holding it. 10. Their behavior sharpens right after you show strength. The moment you act confident, distant, or self-respecting, they throw a subtle test to recheck whether your new standard is real or temporary. Boundary testing is not about conflict. It's about control. Every sign is an attempt to decode your self-worth. Boundaries only work when they're enforced, not when they're explained, not when they're negotiated, not when they're softened to keep someone comfortable. If someone is testing you, your power comes from how you respond, not what you say. Here is the blueprint. 1. Stop warning people. Let consequences speak. People don't believe words, they believe patterns. When you let someone feel the cost of crossing you, even once, the testing stops. Not because they respect the boundary, but because they respect your spine. 2. Match their behavior, not their excuses. If they pull back, you stop reaching. If they dismiss your no, you stop explaining. If they ignore a limit, you create distance. Your silence and withdrawal teach faster than any speech. 3. Don't explain yourself twice. A second explanation is a negotiation. A third explanation is surrender. You say it once with clarity. After that, you respond with action, not repetition. 4. Remove access, not emotion. You don't need to get angry. You don't need to prove your point. You simply adjust the access they have to you. Less time, less energy, less priority, less availability. Boundary testers understand loss more than language. 5. Don't reward disrespect with effort. The moment someone violates a line, you don't fix it. You step back. You don't over-communicate, over-explain, or over-correct. You let their own behavior disqualify them. Your absence becomes the teacher. 6. Make your no a complete sentence. No story, no justification, no softening, just clear, calm, grounded refusal. A person who needs you to sugarcoat your boundaries doesn't respect them. 7. Stay calm when they escalate. Boundary testers push harder when they lose control. They'll guilt trip, joke, flirt, or provoke. Your job is to remain unmoved. Your calmness kills their leverage. 8. Reward alignment, not pressure. When someone respects your boundary, you stay open. When someone pushes against it, you shut the door. This teaches people exactly what version of you their behavior produces. 9. Don't try to be understood. Be consistent. Boundary testing ends the moment someone realizes they can't move you, they can't shake you, they can't bend you. Consistency is dominance. 10. Walk away once, permanently if needed. The ultimate boundary is distance. When someone sees that crossing your line leads to losing access to you, their behavior changes fast. Not because they suddenly became respectful, but because they realized the cost of disrespect is too high. The goal isn't to control people. It's to control the space you allow around you. When your boundaries reflect your self-respect, the wrong people remove themselves and the right ones never test you again. The moment you stop bending for people, you stop attracting the ones who depend on your weakness. Boundary testing ends when you show you won't shrink, you won't explain yourself twice, and you won't hand out access to anyone who hasn't earned it. And if you've ever been in a connection where your boundaries were ignored, twisted, or punished, where you felt yourself bending just to keep the peace. My audiobook, Surviving the Toxic Bond, will show you exactly why it happened, why you stayed, and how to rebuild the self-respect that ends cycles like this forever. The download link is in my bio. If this helped you see yourself more clearly, like the video, drop a comment, subscribe, and share it. You never know who needs this truth. Stay sharp, stay anchored, protect your peace.